And at this point, in terms of your evolution as a strength and conditioning coach, is there a Bergner warm-up?
There's a Bergner warm-up.
There's a Bergner. Is it the same one we know today?
Same Bergner warm-up. But it wasn't known as the Bergner warm-up. I've been doing the same damn warm-up and the skill transfer exercises.
Skill transfer exercises. It's basically same process for teaching from the top down.
Junkyard dog.
Junkyard dog. All that stuff.
All that stuff.
That stuff's got some history.
It's got some history.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that, you know, this is the way we warm up. This is the way we warm up. Yeah, we do, you want to get explosive? We jump. And so our conditioning was, we warm up, the kids would come from the locker room, they'd jog up to the weight room. So once they get the jogging up to the weight room, they'd get a partner and they'd do the junkyard dog. Those 10 skills.
Seat on the ground, kids jumping over my arms and legs.
And back again, and then hands and knees, jump over, crawl under.
Yeah.
We did that workout. Right after that, we take a PVC pipe. And by this time, I'm taking roll call.
So you were using PVC pipe back then?
Never went above it.
Yeah.
And, you know, and once their technique, you know, my philosophy has always been body weight exercises before barbell exercises. Mm-hmm. But PVC pipe could become a body weight exercise because it's so light. Mm-hmm. So I teach positioning, stance, grip, and positioning.
Yep.
Position of the barbell along the torso. Top going down is easier than bottom coming up. So I would teach that. And of course,
hook grip.
Oh, always.
Absolutely.
Always the hook grip. Yep. And then we would do benches. We do squats. It's not hard to teach a bench. It's not hard to teach a squat. And we would do deadlifts, but we would call them clean deadlifts. I didn't do the regular deadlift. I'd call them clean deadlift. And then I'd let them do, you know, always loved to do the bodybuilding type stuff. So, you know, my bench presses would be bench press, dumbbell bench press, incline dumbbell bench press, incline bench. So we do all those variations to get the upper body strong and just to make them stronger. And we would do clean, we did the cleans, but we would do clean deadlift, but I wouldn't let them snatch and clean and jerk because they didn't have the technique for it. But I taught them how to lift the weight from the ground using the deadlift, both hands the same way, but just squatting the bar up, but no speed on the barbell, just through that range of motion.
And then they would gravitate into cleans.
Once that I felt like these athletes could do the Bergner warm-up with weight, they would use the PVC pipe, and then I'd fill it with sand.
Oh, wow.
And then I had rebar, and I'd take the rebar and pull it in there. Yep. And then I'd get cold roll steel from the junkyard, and they would do the Bergner warm-up with that. Eventually, they would go to the bar. And they'd never go heavier than the bar with the Bergner warm-up, ever heavier with the bar. Once that they could start doing that and they started getting those patterns down, then we started lifting with the weight. Wow. Typically, that would take anywhere in my PE classes, because I taught them the same way, my PE kids could not lift for a snatch or a clean for 18 weeks.
Okay.
And we had a grading program, a 10-point grading program. I don't know if you remember that or not, but we had 5 positions, the starting position. Yeah. You got 2 points for that starting position. If you lifted the weight off the ground the right way, you got 2 points. Right. If you got the weight to mid-thigh the proper way, you got 2 points. If you extended, you finished, you got 2 points. And if you received the bar into a full position, you got 2 points. So you got 10 total points. If you got an 8 or above, we would count the lift. If you got less than an 8, regardless of the amount of weight that you lifted, I mean, you could snatch 250 pounds and get a 6, and I could snatch 190 pounds and get an 8. I just beat you.
That's amazing.
And they hated it.
That's, you know, this is, you know what this is? This is mechanics and consistency before CrossFit showed the world mechanics and consistency. That's exactly what that is. Because technique trumps the weight.
Technique trumps. Yeah. The beauty of it was the kids got so pissed that he didn't win with 250 because all he's doing is bulling his neck and bubbling his snot, right?
Yeah.
And then this little stud over here that weighs, 175 pounds snatches 190 kilos, right? And he's like, I just kicked your ass. So now all of a sudden the big guy realizes, well, I guess I better listen to the old man and clean up my technique.
Yeah.
So that guy that's snatching 250 now is all of a sudden snatching 275 and getting eights.
Yeah.
So they learned that technique became the issue.
See, that's the great lesson right there.
That's the
Because he got better.
They got better.
He went further than he would have because you insisted on the technique.
Right.
That's amazing. And I know that affiliate owners struggle with this same thing all the time, whether it's a back squat, a clean, because people are driven by the numbers.
Right.
My Fran time is 340. But
So what?
you didn't get an 8 out of 10 on your thrusters and your pull-ups, so it doesn't actually count.
Okay.
But that's why there's coaches, really.
A good coach, I had great coaches mentoring me. So, everything that I did was from what I learned from somebody else, basically. But the coaching point was that, and I don't know if you remember this story or not, but at Carlsbad High School, I'm teaching these kids in the weight room, and these kids are like, Coach, you're confusing the hell out of me. You're talking about ankle, knee, and hip extension. You're talking about doing this and whatever. I don't know what the hell you mean. You're saying your arms are like ropes, and you're doing this and that, and you're talking about the scoop. And this gal was a 15-year-old physics genius. Mm-hmm. She says, "Why don't you just say jump?" And that was at Carlsbad High School, and I'm going, yeah, why don't I just say jump? That changed everything for me as a coach.
I'm glad you say that changed everything for me, and I learned it from you.
Yeah.
I remember, and I'm just so excited to be here, so I'm going to relate stories about my experience with you. I apologize if it's too much, but I came here because I was at UCLA, and I couldn't teach the Olympic lifts. I knew what I wanted to see. I knew what was supposed to happen, but you're right. Scoop or push your knees forward or double bend the knees. It just wasn't working. Yeah. And I took your course, which was phenomenal. That USA weightlifting course back then you were at RBV then, Rancho Buena Vista High School. And then I came up here and I just started working with you. And I remember a female volleyball player coming up. She was not happy to be here. Her dad was dragging her. You knew her dad was like, she's great at volleyball. She needs to get stronger. We'll get a college scholarship. So he drags her up here, and then you take over, which is essential, like you did with my boys today. It's hard to coach your own kids. You know that. And you had her here, and I just sat over there and watched the whole thing. And in 15 minutes, she was doing a high hang snatch because all you told her to do was jump the bar overhead. And when I started coaching your CrossFit course and everything, we were able to give that light bulb moment to people all over. And it's just it's an amazing thing. And it all came from that conversation. Yeah. Because you knew, you had studied weightlifting. You had watched the Russians weightlift. You had competed at the highest levels and everything. But it was just that one little.
I knew what I was doing. But the terminology, I'm so terminology driven. And I didn't know how to keep it simple. Ankle, knee, and hip extension, simple. For me, but for a 15-year-old, what the hell, they don't know that. But this girl was smart enough, she called me on it. And I'm smart enough to say, absolutely, that makes sense. Why don't I just say jump? It's jumping the barbell through a range of motion, create an acceleration and elevation on the barbell, then you pull yourself down and around the barbell and you punch your body into an overhead squat. Holy shit, what does that mean? It's a snatch.
That's it.
That's all it is.
All flowed together.
All flowed together. I just told you what a snatch was.